The Nebraska Wesleyan University Sports Network, in conjunction with 5 City TV and the Great Plains Athletic Conference, presents Prairie Wolves basketball. Today it's an NAIA conference matchup featuring the Tigers of Doane College and the Nebraska Wesleyan University Prairie Wolves. This game is made possible by Lincoln Electric System. It's your electricity, own it, and Nebraska Wesleyan University. Now let's take you out to Snyder Arena.
GPAC basketball is back on the Nebraska Wesleyan Sports Network as we welcome you to Snyder Arena tonight. It's a rivalry showdown between the Nebraska Wesleyan Prairie Wolves and the Doane Tigers. Along with Lucas Mormon, I'm Jeff Modes. Lucas, this is not only just a rivalry game, but this is an opportunity for Nebraska Wesleyan to make the GPAC basketball tournament too.
That's right. A win tonight locks up their spot in the GPAC tournament. They take the top 8. A win tonight locks it up. A win tonight on the other side for Doane by the Prairie Wolves puts them out of the tournament. They're on the outside looking win. They need wins down the stretch, and they need one tonight.
Well, you look at this matchup here the last few times, 10 of the 12 games have been decided by Nebraska Wesleyan, winning those games. 4 of the 5 times they've met here at Snyder Arena, Nebraska Wesleyan has won. They lead the all-time series 98-95. Now, 2 guards to keep an eye on tonight for Nebraska Wesleyan would be Trey Bardsley for one, Jonah Bradley. A lot of these guys are averaging double figures for the Prairie Wolves. You got Eric Jackson and Trevor Johnson, 2 other guys that are averaging double figures too.
And they all had big nights against Doane last time they played. 3 players with 21 points. Doane has some guards of their own. They have All-American Nick Reed averaging 22.1 points per game. He leads the GPAC of all scoring. Dominic Smith in the top 5 in the GPAC scoring. So there's some counter-punchers over on the other side for Doane. It should be a fun one tonight.
Should be a dandy here for this one tonight. The men's matchup, Nebraska Wesleyan and Doane, the Prairie Wolves and the Tigers. It's a rivalry matchup here at Snyder Arena. Back with more, including the starting lineups and the tip-off after this on the Nebraska Wesleyan Sports Network.
Hi, this is Ryan with LES's Save Money, Saving Energy. Did you know that proper insulation levels can help reduce your heating and cooling costs? You can check your attic insulation level with this very advanced high-tech tool called a ruler. Make sure you have 14 to 16 inches of insulation for maximum energy efficiency. It'll help reduce drafts and allow your heating and cooling systems to not have to work so hard. Think of it as saving money by the inches, $1, $2, $3, you get the idea. For more ways to save, visit les.com today. See you next time.
The Lincoln Water System knows you are busy, and we appreciate your help as we replace your indoor water meters. First, look for a door hanger with your appointment time. Make sure an adult will be present. Allow easy access to the meter, and make sure the technician is wearing a Lincoln Water System uniform and carrying ID. The free replacement takes only about 20 minutes. For more information, call 402-441-1500 or visit water.lincoln.ne.gov.
Your life is what you make of it. In Lincoln, some are making it fun, some are making it successful, others are making it vibrant, refreshing, economical, creative, interesting. They're making Lincoln home. So, make it young, make it a family, make it a booming career, make it whatever makes you happy. Make your life right in Lincoln.
Welcome back to Snyder Arena. There you see Trent Scheidel with his parents. Senior night, 7 seniors being honored. They've combined for 4,210 points over the past 4 years for this Prairie Wolf men's basketball program. Quite an accomplishment, no doubt. But this is a group of seniors, Lucas, that would like to keep this season going after tonight.
Well, that's right. And another accomplishment you could put a feather in their hat is with one more win this season. That's the most wins in the Cam Shooknet era. So that'll be the most wins. If they can get a win tonight over the Doane Tigers, improved to 14-10, most wins in Cam's history. So a proud senior class, to say the least. 7 of them. You don't see 7 seniors very often stick it out all 4 years on a basketball team. You see 10, 15 seniors in the football. 7 seniors on a basketball team. That's a lot of senior leadership. And of those 7, all of them contribute for the most part. They have an 8-man rotation, and of that 8-man, only one of them isn't a senior.
Well, you look at Trevor Johnson, the senior out of Pius X, Casey Weens, the senior out of Grand Island Central Catholic, Jonah Bradley out of Norfolk, You go down to Andrew Metis, the senior out of Plattsmouth, Eric Jackson, the senior out of Lincoln Southeast, Trent Scheidel, senior out of Falls City, and Tim Schweitzer, the senior out of Bedford, Iowa. Those are your seniors that are being honored here tonight on senior night here at Snyder Arena. Let's take this break. We'll come back to Snyder Arena with more, including the starting lineups for the tip-off. It's Doane and Nebraska Wesleyan on the Nebraska Wesleyan Sports Network.
Dr. R.E. Cycle here with a simple but important message. Recycling starts at home. That's right, it's up to you to take the first step. Setting up a home recycling system is easy, and you don't need much space. Find out how at recycle.lincoln.ne.gov. Recycling is good for our community and our planet, and you don't need to be a genius like me to get started. So do the right thing, the recycle thing.
Hi, this is Ryan with LES's Save Money, Saving Energy. Did you know that proper insulation levels can help reduce your heating and cooling costs? You can check your attic insulation level with this very advanced high-tech tool called a ruler. Make sure you have 14 to 16 inches of insulation for maximum energy efficiency. It'll help reduce drafts and allow your heating and cooling systems to not have to work so hard. Think of it as saving money by the inches, $1, $2, $3, you get the idea. For more ways to save, visit les.com today. See you next time.
Today, you could save a life. We know that when emergency vehicles are approaching, it can be alarming, and remembering what to do may escape you. Whenever you see and hear lights and sirens of an emergency vehicle, move to the right of the road and stop. Wait for all emergency vehicles to pass. It may be one of your family or friends we're going to assist. Please help us to arrive quickly and safely, and remember, today, you could save a life.
Today, you could save a life. Fire is not like what you see in the movies. Real fire is hot and oppressive. You can't stand up. The smoke is so black and toxic you can hardly see or breathe. Many deadly fires are started each year in the kitchen by food left on the stove or by candles left burning in a room. So do the responsible thing. Never leave a room while cooking food or burning candles. Respect the use of matches and lighters, and remember, today, you could save a life.
The Lincoln Water System knows you are busy, and we appreciate your help as we replace your indoor water meters. First, look for a door hanger with your appointment time. Make sure an adult will be present. Allow easy access to the meter, and make sure the technician is wearing a Lincoln Water System uniform and carrying ID. The free replacement takes only about 20 minutes. For more information, call 402-441-1500 or visit water.lincoln.ne.gov.
Hi, Ryan here with LES's Save Money, Saving Energy. And this right here is Lincoln Electric System's fancy new website, kilowatchers.com. Kilowatt watcher. Anyway, it provides one-stop shopping where you can learn how to save money and energy as well as reduce your impact on the environment. You'll find stuff like newsletters, brochures, and energy efficiency calculators where you can evaluate the appliances and heating and cooling systems in your house. So visit kilowatchers.com today and kilowatch your savings add up. No? Really? See you next time.
Snyder Arena is where we're at tonight here on the Nebraska Wesleyan Sports Network. Nebraska Wesleyan 13-10, 8-10 in the GPAC. Doane 13-10 overall, 6-12 in the GPAC. Obviously, these are two teams vying to get one of these spots in the GPAC conference tournament coming up next week. It starts a week from tonight, of course, this being Wednesday night, this game that's airing. But what would it be for Wesleyan tonight to come out with a win here against Doane, and for Cam Schucknecht, who has been trying to build up this program here in his tenure here at Wesleyan, and to get a spot in that GPAC tournament? Quite a cap to a regular season that's gone really well for Wesleyan. There you see the starting lineups: Bardsley, Bradley, Jackson, Johnson, Schweitzer. Four of the five starters are seniors for Nebraska Wesleyan: Bradley, Jackson, Johnson, and Schweitzer. Doane, on the other hand, very talented guard tandem. As we look at their starting lineups, they'll go with Zach Hunt, Dominic Smith averaging 19 points a game, Nick Reed averaging 22 a game, Trey Magruder, is a 6'7" senior, and Nate Keel, the freshman from just down the road in Tecumseh, former Johnson County Central High School product, getting the start tonight for Doane. And for Jim Weeks, the head coach of Doane, his second season. Of course, we're familiar with Jim Weeks. He was a longtime head coach at Beatrice High School, built up a tremendous basketball program and a Class B power for the Orangemen.
And then the chance, as you see Coach Weeks, then the chance to come back and to his alma mater. Never really had to change his wardrobe much. Always the orange and the black.
And he's got, if you look over on the far side, he has got his Doane pullover, his black pullover, and he's got the white shirt and orange tie on underneath.
And if there's one thing about Coach Weeks' coach teams, they're always intense. They pressure you up and down the court. And an intense individual we learned from those years at Beatrice. It should be a fun one tonight. That's for sure. And we talk about the Tigers. They need a win tonight. Now, a loss doesn't necessarily throw them completely out of the picture, but they need a win tonight to at least keep their hopes a little bit more stable. They would need a Northwestern loss against Dordt, which we saw the Dordt team this weekend. That's probably, if you're looking at the odds, not in the favor of the Tigers. So they need to win tonight and then hope that they're still in the mix come Saturday of the final regular season weekend in the GPAC to make that tournament. The third year Nebraska Wesleyan has declared NAIA for the tournament. They haven't been in the GPAC tournament a whole lot in basketball because they've always went the NCAA D3 route. They've the last 3 years decided to go the NAIA route to be available for that GPAC tournament. They get that win tonight. They don't have to worry about what happens on Saturday. They are in the GPAC postseason tournament. They could get as high as 5. They could still be as low as 8. The top 4 seeds host, so they're going to have to go on the road in the first round regardless of what happens.
And we talk about these stipulations tonight. It's not just that's on the line. It's the rivalry game.
Exactly.
We've dubbed it Nebraska's version of Bedlam. We did that during football. We're going to do the same thing tonight with this basketball matchup. Tim Schweitzer and Nate Keel to jump center. Schweitzer tips it, and Bardsley tracks it down to begin this game as the Prairie Wolves will control the basketball. Good crowd on hand for this one tonight here at Snyder Arena. Jackson with it now to Bardsley. It's Wesleyan on the attack. Bardsley high off the glass and in.
When Bardsley goes to the rack that time, known for spotting up, hitting some threes, a high arcing shot off the glass early here in this one.
Doane with the basketball. Zach Hunt. Pick and roll. Keel underneath with a shot fake, goes up against Schweitzer and draws the foul.
Good entry pass, and then Keel just a head fake. Got his defender in the air. Just slipped the pick a little bit there. Schweitzer trailed the play the entire way. Picks up his first here. Just 19:23 on the clock.
Keel was quite the player at Johnson County Central. Misses the first free throw as it hits the front of the rim. He and Justin Dammy were, of course, Dammy over at Concordia, were both teammates at Johnson County Central as Keel hits the free throw, and that puts Doane on the scoreboard trailing 2-1. Man defense here from Doane. Schweitzer. Here's Bradley. Here's Jackson. Dish to Schweitzer. Shot fake goes up. Shot blocked by Keel. Here comes Doane. Nick Reed. Keel. Here's Hunt. He'll take the three. And Bradley with the long carom will bring it up.
That last time it was a nice dish to Schweitzer, but I think he was all alone. He could have laid that one in.
Johnson with the spin move off the glass and in.
Johnson was kind of slow getting into the game against Dordt. Good to see him go to the rack early here. Aggressive play.
Here's Keel. Working on the block. Blocked by Schweitzer. But Doane recovers. Smith off the screen. Here's a three. Off the lip of the rim, and Schweitzer gets the rebound. Now Doane trying to play a little bit of pressure defense as Dominic Smith knocks the ball out of the hands of Bradley, and it will stay with Wesleyan.
A quick start. That's what Nebraska Wesleyan got off to in the first time they met. They'll need that again here tonight. They built a 19-point lead against the Tigers in the first meeting and hung on to the win that one by 10.
Here's Jackson around the lane, up and in.
Great job by Jackson, keeping the ball high right after he caught it. Didn't take the dribble, didn't bring it down, laid it up quickly before that interior defense could get there.
Smith off the screen. Magruder off the pick and roll, couldn't handle the ball. Here comes Bradley off the turnover. Bardsley. Jackson down the lane, goes up, shot blocked, tip and try is good for Schweitzer, and he's fouled.
Traditional three-point play opportunity here for Schweitzer. Johnson with the take and good position on the rebound. Schweitzer cleans up the trash, gets the hoop and the harm. Again, a quick start here. 9-1.
Big start here for Wesleyan. This is what they need. Here's Smith to Reed, and Hunt off the screen, and a moving screen offensive foul will go against Magruder.
Take a look here. He comes over to set the screen, and he can't extend those arms. Kind of moved into Trey Bardsley that time. That's 2 on Magruder. So he'll step to the bench, and that brings in David McDonald, a sophomore out of Phillips, Nebraska.
The Aurora product checking in for Jim Weeks. Johnson, Schweitzer. Now Bradley. Here's Bardsley. Left wing, Jackson for a 3. Bouncing through, got the friendly roll. And now it's a 12-1 lead here for Wesleyan.
Coach Weeks working the officials on the far sideline the entire time that possession.
Reed on the fadeaway, got the hoop and the harm.
Give Reed some credit there to power through after that foul came early in his shot motion. Take a look. Goes to the hoop, already on his way up, able to power it through. Get the traditional three-point play opportunity again, and he makes that.
So the three-point play for Reed, and that ends the scoring drought. Temporarily, though. 12-4 Wesleyan. Bradley. Jackson for another 3. Oh, my!
Eric Jackson, the senior, feeling it here early. Back-to-back triples, and it's an 11-point lead.
15-4 Prairie Wolves. Not even 4 minutes into this one. Here's Hunt for a 3. And he responds with a 3 of his own.
That quiets the crowd a little bit here. The transfer from Briar Cliff over to Doane via originally a Hastings guy.
16 minutes left, 4 minutes gone by here in this first half. Schweitzer out Bardsley for a 3. Oh, boy.
It's raining threes here in Snyder Arena.
And the lead at 18-7. Now how about Bardsley? Bit of a reunion with his former high school coach, Jim Weeks, who's on the opposite sideline tonight. Here's Reed to the basket, missing it, and Johnson with a rebound.
It's a good hard take by Reed.
And we got a foul on, I believe it's Hunt. Take a look at this again. A little bit of contact between Johnson and Hunt.
They're going to call it on Johnson.
Now they're going to give it to Johnson, so it is an offensive foul. And so Wesleyan up by 11. Some early momentum off some big threes. Here's Dominique Smith on the high wing. Now to Reed in the post. And blocking foul called against Andrew Mettis of Nebraska Wesleyan, another senior out of Plattsmouth.
It's been pretty much an 8-man rotation. Look at Reed here you get that open hand on them, you're going to get that call.
Reed off the inbound. Off the screen from Keel.
Get out.
Shot fake. Here's Hunt for a three. And he connects.
He had 29 three-point field goals coming into this contest, back-to-back there. About a 38% three-point shooter. Got it down to double digits, or single digits.
Here's Metis, out Bardsley. What we got here is some pushing and shoving away from the basketball. David McDonald is called for the foul. There you see Jim Weeks on that sideline.
And he'll use all of it. That is for sure. Coach Weeks will be up and down that sideline all game long.
He's
encouraging his players, after the officials, a little bit of everything.
And now a 5-second call as Jonah Bradley could not get the ball inbounds and a turnover on Wesleyan. And you know Jim Weeks is a very intense guy, but he's such a crafty coach when it comes to X's and O's.
Well, he was one of the best at the high school level.
Oh, no, there's no doubt.
For a long time, so it's been fun to see him. Last year, they had 21 wins, the most wins in school history.
Hootie Holt, former Lincoln North Star product, into the game as he turned the ball over and commits a foul. Holt was a part of the second state tournament team that North Star had in 2012, and that was a highly talented group over there that Coach Tony Kotroki had. Of course, Kiefer Musil was their top three-point shooter, and Hootie Holt was one of the best guards in the city that year. Took the Gators to the semifinals. Here's Johnson to the basket, and he's fouled. He'll head to the line.
Second foul on David McDonald, the sophomore, 6'10", out of Aurora High School, a former Husky. Take a look here, and Johnson might have got away with a little offensive foul there, tried to shed his defender, a little forearm.
Johnson's first free throw is good. Of course, Johnson over that 1,000-point mark for his career. Did that a few weeks ago. It's the second free throw.
The first time these guys met, it was also a hot shooting night. I mean, so far the balls, they're getting up and down the court, they're putting in the hole, but Nebraska Wesleyan shot almost 70% from the field in that win over the Tigers out in Crete.
That's pretty good.
That's real good.
That's extremely good. Reed on a fadeaway gets it to go.
He can get his shot in a lot of ways. He's got 5 already, averages 22. There's a reason he leads the GPAC in scoring.
Here's Jackson to Bardsley. Schweitzer. Jackson for a three. That one off the iron and the rebound to Keel. Reed out front. One dribble. Here's a jumper. Boy. One dribble. And he knocks it down.
Quick elevation. That 6'4" can get a shot off over some of the smaller guards.
If you can spot up off the dribble like that, you're going to knock down a lot of shots. Here's Bardsley. And Bardsley responds with a big three. Well, that's his second.
If Bardsley gets square as well, watch out. He's going to find the bottom of the net probably 8 out of 10 times.
Lead back at 9 for Wesleyan at 23-14. Zach Hunt on the dribble. Out it goes to Smith. Smith off the screen from Magruder. Dribbles into traffic. Reed for a three. Knocks it home.
Reed showing you a variety of ways that he can be a weapon.
And a full timeout taken by the Doane Tigers with 12:31 remaining first half. The lead at Wesleyan is in favor of the Prairie Wolves by 6.
Hi, this is Ryan with LES's Save Money, Saving Energy. Did you know that proper insulation levels can help reduce your heating and cooling costs? You can check your attic insulation level with this very advanced high-tech tool called a ruler. Make sure you have 14 to 16 inches of insulation for maximum energy efficiency. It'll help reduce drafts and allow your heating and cooling systems to not have to work so hard. Think of it as saving money by the inches, $1, $2, $3, you get the idea. For more ways to save, visit les.com today. See you next time.
Nebraska Wesleyan here on the home court tonight. Senior night, final home game of the regular season. They lead it by 6. 23-17 over Doane. 12:31 to go here in this first half. Jeff Moats, Lucas Mormon, our entire Nebraska Wesleyan Sports Network crew with you tonight. That women's game earlier, that was a dandy.
It was exciting to see him close out the season on a high note. I mean, I know it's been a long season for if you're a Prairie Wolf women's basketball fan, but went out, sent Snyder Arena in their final game this year, and seniors out in style.
Jackson over to Bardsley as we get back to action. Scheidel got his shot blocked by Keel that time. And now Reed on the attack, puts up a shot, misses it, but he's fouled. Got a quick first step, Nick Reed does.
On a little crossover, a little hesitation there. Take a look, just one way, quick crossover, and gets to the rack.
Free throw short, though, that time for Reed. Bradley and Casey Weens check in.
Reed, 198 made free throws on the season. 85% from the line, so a rare miss there.
In and out on that one. And Bradley with a rebound. Man defense from Doane. Wesleyan trying to look inside, but Scheidel was wide open. But here's Bradley for a three, missing strong, and the rebound to Reed.
Good look, just a little bit long that time.
Now Reed back over here on the left side. Here's Hunt for a three. And he is on fire. All of his shots have been from three-point range. He's got 9. And now Doane within 3 of Wesleyan. As they come on back and get into this one here with just over 11 minutes remaining. And now entry pass to Trent Scheidel is knocked out of bounds by Doane. It will stay with Wesleyan.
Prairie Wolves started quickly. They've knocked down 4 triples of their own, but it's been the long ball from Hunt here lately, pulling back in this one.
And now Reed Williams checks in. He's a freshman from Lincoln Southwest. He's in for the Doane Tigers. Metis on the right elbow. Against Williams, puts up a shot, good.
That's a tough hit there in the lane for Metis. 6'1", giving up a little bit of inches, able to muscle his way in with a little teardrop.
Lead at 5 again for Wesleyan. Here's Smith, down the key, jump stop. Lost the ball and Scheidel comes up with it. Metis with a fadeaway runner missing.
That's pretty good defense that time in transition.
Now bounce pass up the floor from Hunt or Williams. Smith and now Hunt. Off the screen. Here's Smith for a three. Knocks it down.
First bucket of the night for Smith. 5th leading scorer in the GPAC coming into tonight.
And now the lead at 2 for Wesleyan at 25-23. What do we got here? Kick ball. You know, credit this Doane basketball team. You know, they were down by as much as 12-1 to begin the game, and now they're within 2 at 25-23.
Yeah, it's just been slow and methodical here.
And they've hit some big baskets, too. Bardsley pulls up. Here's a long 2, and he knocks it home.
Bardsley's having a nice night already with 10 points. Had 21 last time these guys clashed.
He and Jackson and Johnson were among those that scored 21 apiece in that last game. And now Reed draws the contact, got the continuation, and the hoop and the harm for Nick Reed.
They could almost, it seemed like they could just clear out for Reed every time. He's going to find a way to get a shot, whether it's a pull-up jumper or crossover. That time just a nice hard curl off the screen.
Free throw good for Reed.
199, trying to reach that 200th free throw made. He leads the GPAC in free throws made.
9:40 to go, first half. Schweitzer to Bradley. 1 point game for Wesleyan. High post, here's a jumper from Schweitzer. Short, Johnson with the offensive board. Goes back up and he's fouled by McDonald, who picks up foul number 3. So the 6'10 sophomore out of Phillips will have to come out here, and we'll see Magruder check back in for Doane.
When you look at height on this Doane squad, you got 6'10 with McDonald, and then you go 6'5 with Magruder, and other than that, you got 6'8 with Keel. So, I mean, there's not a lot there. Other than that, everyone's 6'4", 6'5", 6'3", or shorter as far as inside. You got Schweitzer at 6'7" for Nebraska Wesleyan, who is their inside guy, and then, you know, you get Scheidel who comes in and plays a little bit bigger than he is.
9:17 to go in the first half, 3-point lead for Wesleyan. Here's Reed. Here's Magruder going to work double team on him, and he's called for traveling, and Magruder was looking for the contact.
Well, and you could see Magruder when he got the ball, he was bound and determined. He was going to get to the hole. Him and Trevor Johnson were having a heck of a battle there, just trying to get open.
Here's Bardsley. Pull-up jumper short. Schweitzer gets it back, and now to Weems. Wesleyan resetting here. Bardsley trying to look in, gets it into Johnson, posting up. Double team on him, back out Bardsley. Weems for a 3. Rattles in and off. Some good looks, though.
Well, they used the extra pass that time. Weems had a look, keeping it alive with some offensive rebounds. Wow, that is just tough to defend. Nick Reed going to work.
Penetrates, hesitates, fades away, and knocks it down.
He's got 15 already tonight. We're 8 minutes left in the first half.
1 point advantage for Wesleyan at 29-28. Schweitzer. Weems off the screen. Schweitzer. Bradley. Here's Bardsley. Here's an 18-footer from Schweitzer.
If he can knock a few more of those out, draw that defense out to him, it'll open up the lane a little bit more for some driving lanes, and then Schweitzer himself give a head fake and go to the rack and match up well against the post players.
Here's Reed down the lane, missing. Ball's tipped around, Johnson with a rebound. Doane has yet to lead in this game. They've been close several times, but Wesleyan's held on. Bradley. Here's Bardsley. He'll launch up a 3. That misses. And Reed with a rebound.
There's maybe just 1-2 steps a little bit deeper than Bardsley would have liked. Left it a little bit short.
Smith off the screen. Puts up a shot, and he's fouled by Bradley.
Smith had 29 points in the first meeting, so he was the man who really came out on fire in that one. Tonight, so far, it looks like Reed with 15 already. Fouls the first there on Bradley.
First personal on Jonah tonight. Smith at the line. First free throw bounces through.
When you talk about Reed and his 15 points tonight, and Smith, kind of the two-headed monster here for Doane, but you think a guy who averages 20, 25 points a game, usually going to maybe shoot a little less percentage from the field, a little more shot attempts. He shoots 52.3% from the field, and it's not like his buckets are all coming within 2 or 3 feet of the hoop. He's an all-around player. He scores from a variety of spots on the floor.
Smith missing the second one, and now Wesleyan up by 2. Bardsley. What do we got here? A blocking foul called against Doane.
Kyle Carper, I think, is going to pick it up just in off the bench, 6'3" senior out of Holyoke, Colorado.
Watch this again. There you see the hedging that time on defense, and that time it's the blocking foul against Carper.
About a half step too late getting there when he sends Bardsley, one of the better free throw shooters for Nebraska Wesleyan, to the line, 83.1% on the season.
Bardsley hits the second one. I mentioned a little while ago that Trey Bardsley and Jim Weeks are very familiar with each other. Bardsley, of course, played high school ball at Beatrice for Jim Weeks. So a little bit of a reunion for both of these two individuals. Of course, they saw each other earlier in the season down in Crete. Reed in the lane, and a foul going to be called against Nebraska Wesleyan.
Scheidel with a little too much body coming on the help.
And this will put Doane in the 1-and-1, and Nick Reed at the line to shoot the 1-and-1.
He has no patch on his shirt. He's not a real ref.
Hits the free throw.
201, 2,000 points. He needed 16 in the game to hit 2,000 for his career. As you see the Doane fans across the way.
And he did it. And it's still at 2,000. Could have gone 2001 there. So Nick Reed eclipses the 2,000 mark for his career. Bardsley, bounce inside. Shot fake by Scheidel, missing underneath on the bunny. No whistle.
Good job, good position though by Scheidel to begin with. A little contact there, didn't draw the whistle that time, but a good entry pass, another shot from Reed. Now he's over 2,000.
Yep, 2002 now. And now Doane within one at 33-32 with 5:51 to play here in the half. They've been within one several times tonight and have never led. Metis. Here's Weems. What do we got here?
Kyle Carper was trying to come over the top that time. His defender had him sealed off. And it's a little too aggressive. Take a look right here. Johnson, good position. Just a little too much body, too much arm. So Carper comes in, picks up 2 quick ones. 1-1 the rest of the way here for both squads.
So Magruder is back in for Carper. Hootie Holt also checking in for Doane. And here is Johnson, hits the first free throw. He's got 7. 5 of the 7 have been from the free throw line. Second free throw. Knocks that one down. 8 for him now. 35-32 Nebraska Wesleyan. Here's Hootie Holt. Smith to Reed. Fade away from 15. Strong, no good. Johnson with a rebound. Gets it into the front court. Underneath. Here's a 3 on the way from Metis.
Another one of those seniors in the rotation, stepping up with a big shot.
And now Jim Weeks is going to burn a 30-second timeout as Wesleyan has spaced themselves a little bit by 2 possessions. Back to Snyder Arena in a moment.
Today, you could save a life. We know that when emergency vehicles are approaching, it can be alarming, and remembering what to do may escape you. Whenever you see and hear lights and sirens of an emergency vehicle, move to the right of the road and stop. Wait for all emergency vehicles to pass. It may be one of your family or friends we're going to assist. Please help us to arrive quickly and safely. And remember, today, you could save a life.
Andrew Metis, the senior from Plattsmouth, A big three for Wesleyan. So you see the kick out here from Johnson in the last possession. Good spot up shot, knocked it down. And the lead at 2 possessions here with just over 5 minutes to play in the first half for Wesleyan. Reed, shot fake, goes up, strong missing, battle for the ball. Put back doesn't fall for Keel. And Metis with a rebound. Metis at 6'1", out-rebounded everybody. Here's Scheidel. Turnaround shot. Boy, that was a tough off-balance shot.
He kind of lulled everybody to sleep, gave a head fake, tried to fake a few kickouts. Everyone kind of got back in their heels and just turned around and snuck one in there.
Here's Reed. Hunt to Magruder. Quickly swinging here in the corner here to Reed. Here's Smith. Bounce past Magruder, lays it up and in. And Magruder finally in the scoring column. Still a 6-point lead here for Wesleyan. This game is high scoring, no doubt. Bradley. Now what do we got here? Pushing foul underneath away from the basketball. Now the Wesleyan faithful tonight all dressed up in Southern gear, I suppose. Is that how you want to put it?
That would be one way to describe it.
Well, one of the guys over there looks like Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, a couple of them look like they should be making moonshine out in the mountains. Check the parking lot, see if the General Lee's out there before we leave.
Yeah. Here's the free throw from Scheidel, missing, no good, and the rebound to Magruder. So the theme tonight is Southern, I suppose. And now a battle for the ball, and Scheidel's called for the foul, reaching in on Nick Reed.
From here on out, last 3:39, double bonus both ways. The one guy you don't want to send to the free throw line, Nick Reed.
So with 3:39 remaining, here comes the 1-and-1 attempt from Nick Reed. Free throw is good. Coming up at halftime, you can join me sitting down with Nebraska Wesleyan University President Dr. Fred Oles. Catch up with him as we check in maybe one last time in this school year to see how things are going on campus.
Reed makes them both, and just to put a little perspective about the amount of time he spends at the free throw line, Jeff, you look at the Nebraska Wesleyan team, the most free throws attempted by anyone. Trevor Johnson, 189. He's over 200 made.
Unreal.
But you can see why.
Oh, Bradley thought about throwing the bounce pass and then hesitated, and he's called for the carry.
And looked like the Tigers changed up their defense a little bit that trip. Kind of a little matchup trapping zone. Had the Prairie Wolves confused just a little bit.
Reed trying to work off of that screen. No whistle. Bardsley got knocked down. Hunt for a three, and he hits another one. That's 4 for him tonight, and Doane is back to within 1 with 3 minutes to go here in the half.
They've made that run. They've got back to 1 every time, and Nebraska Wesleyan has got a bucket, found an answer, made a run of their own. Let's see if that trend continues.
Now we got more pushing away from the basketball again.
That's 3 on Magruder. So Magruder, the 6'5" forward, and David McDonald, the 6'10" post player, both with 3. That time, I think that one on the other end might have looked worse than it was as Bardsley went down. I'm not sure he didn't. Part of that wasn't from, wow, that was a friendly roll there. He kind of tripped over his own teammates' feet.
9 now for Trevor Johnson. 7 of which have been from the charity stripe, as Nate Keel will check back in for Doane, and Magruder will check out. And now we got
A little sweat
Yep, trying to get that cleaned
condensation, perspiration per se.
And now the second one from Trevor Johnson. Off the front rim, no good. Keel with a rebound. Reed with the basketball. Chance to tie here. Puts up a shot off the glass and in, and we're deadlocked at 41.
Well, that's pretty good defense by Johnson. It's a tough assignment, but he did his best, kept him in front of him, hand up, defended the shot, and here's the steal.
Now Smith going up, missing the layup, Bardsley with a rebound. No whistle. Point blank, Smith misses the breakaway. Jackson for a three. Boom!
3 triples on the night for Eric Jackson. That was a big answer right there.
And you leave him alone wide open in that corner, that's his shot. 2 minutes before halftime. Reed for a three off the front of the rim. Offensive board. Doane resetting. Here's Reed again. Down the key. Here's Hunt. Smith, he'll rise up for a three. Off the iron, and the rebound to Johnson.
Well, you got 2 guys that you really have to take away, or you probably can't take away control. And so far, Dominic Smith, only 4 points.
Here's Jackson for another three, missing, and the rebound to Smith.
Time he didn't quite get squared up, had to rush it, the defense was coming. We approaching 1 minute left here in the half.
Here's Reed with a minute to go. 15-footer, back iron strong, and Metis with a rebound. Reed's missed his last 3 or 4 attempts. Shot clock differential is 19 seconds, 40 on the game clock, now 19 on the shot clock. Metis with 30. Here's Bardsley. Jackson again for a three. Boom!
Jackson worked hard to get open, running that baseline back and forth. Finally picked up a screen. They lost him in there, might have tried to switch it wide alone, and you said that's his spot, Jeff.
46-41 Wesleyan. We're down to 8 seconds. Reed with the basketball. He's the go-to guy. Trying to work out the screen from Keel. Still on the dribble. Shot fake, puts up a shot. Back iron strong, no good at the buzzer. And that first half comes to a close. What a performance for Reed. But how about the Prairie Wolves as they hold on to a 5-point lead here at the break. Nebraska Wesleyan 46, Doane 41 on the Nebraska Wesleyan Sports Network.
The Lincoln Water System knows you are busy, and we appreciate your help as we replace your indoor water meters. First, look for a door hanger with your appointment time. Make sure an adult will be present. Allow easy access to the meter, and make sure the technician is wearing a Lincoln Water System uniform and carrying ID. The free replacement takes only about 20 minutes. For more information, call 402-441-1500 or visit water.lincoln.ne.gov.
We're back here at Snyder Arena here on the Nebraska Wesleyan Sports Network. I'm Jeff Moats alongside Nebraska Wesleyan University President Dr. Fred Oles here. Dr. Oles, thank you so much for joining us here.
You're welcome, Jeff. Delighted to be with you.
Well, we're halfway through the academic year, which is hard to believe because it seemed like football season started yesterday, but we're at the halfway point of the year. What are some things that are going on and lying ahead for Nebraska Wesleyan?
Jeff, I'm delighted with the very capable class of traditional age students we welcomed 6 months ago now. And with the beginning of our spring semester, we had a nice bump in the enrollment compared to what we had expected. That pleases me a lot. One other thing I'd like to mention, Nebraska Wesleyan operates an instructional site in Omaha, and we're preparing to open a new location in Omaha at 140th and Dodge, and so we've got a nice balance between what we offer here in Lincoln and what there is in Omaha for Nebraska Wesleyan education.
And of course, you got the NCAA Division III Indoor Track and Field Championships coming to Lincoln, too.
We sure do. It's a great privilege for Nebraska Wesleyan to be the national host of Division III Indoor Track and Field. I'm looking forward to being there myself very soon.
When we look ahead for the rest of the semester and the academic year, what are some things that are coming up that folks should know about what's happening here at Nebraska Wesleyan?
I would point especially, Jeff, to our strategic planning process. It's been about half a dozen years since we worked on our strategic plan at Nebraska Wesleyan. We've got a lot of campus involvement in that plan, including our students, and we're going to focus on a few measures over the next several years to make the education and the experience we offer here even finer than it is today.
Hard to believe that we're getting close to the end of the school year here at Nebraska Wesleyan, but it's always a good time here, and we appreciate your time here tonight. Dr. Oles, Dr. Fred Oles, Nebraska Wesleyan University President, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff. Delight to be with you.
And we'll be back here to Snyder Arena with more in just a moment on the Nebraska Wesleyan Sports Network.
Hi, this is Ryan with LES's Save Money, Saving Energy. Did you know that proper insulation levels can help reduce your heating and cooling costs? You can check your attic insulation level with this very advanced high-tech tool called a ruler. Make sure you have 14 to 16 inches of insulation for maximum energy efficiency. It'll help reduce drafts and allow your heating and cooling systems to not have to work so hard. Think of it as saving money by the inches, $1, $2, $3, you get the idea. For more ways to save, visit les.com today. See you next time.